Well, as Ryan said, last week was a big week in our community because truly we lost a giant among us. A comment on Facebook last week said it best. Marie Gallo was the closest thing we had to royalty. She was our Princess Di, our Oprah, our impeccably dressed fairy godmother. She was beloved and admired and respected by so many of us. Her largesse impacted hundreds of organizations and thousands of people over the years. Everyone who knew Marie felt that they had a special connection, and they weren't afraid to ask for free wine for their event or even a financial contribution for their good cause. And she almost always said yes for decades. Marie Damrell Gallo was born and raised in Modesto. She and her brother Frank grew up in a loving, prominent family that taught them the importance of giving back and contributing to the greater good. After Modesto High School, she earned her degree in the Bay Area, but returned to Modesto where she taught elementary school for a few years and married Bob Gallo in the summer of 1958. They soon started a family that would eventually be comprised of 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls. While her life was charmed in many ways, her life was not always easy, and she was never one to put on airs and pretend it was. In 1979, her son Mark died of an unusual disease at the age of 16. She never got over that and often lamented to me how she wished that they had been able to find the right doctors and diagnosis soon enough. Her family dealt with illness and loss and hurt just like all of ours do. She was a person of immense faith. I wish I had $1 for every time she told me she was going to pray for something. Anytime a challenging situation arose, she would say, "We need to pray about it." And if the problem was really big, she would say, "I'm going to ask the sisters to pray about it." She was calling in the big guns. Somehow I always felt a little better knowing Marie was praying for me and about my issues. Marie was one of the first people who reached out to me when I moved to Modesto 21 years ago this week. She invited me to her home for tea. Just the two of us drank iced tea and chatted. It was the beginning of a very special friendship. I remember asking her about her family, that question we often ask when we first meet someone. How many children do you have? And even though 21 years had passed, I remember the pain in her eyes when she told me that one of her children was in heaven. Little did I know that a mere 7 years later, she would be one of the very first people to call and offer comfort to me when my own son went to heaven. I remember that phone call like it was yesterday. I said, "Oh, Marie, how am I going to survive this?" And she said, "It takes a lot of prayer." Marie loved and believed in the power of the arts to change people's lives. She wanted our town to have a performing arts center, and she was arguably the driving force for making it happen. You've all heard the story of then Mayor Dick Lang going to her and asking her to lead the fundraising efforts to build a performing arts center. She twisted many arms, used her considerable influence within her family, coerced many other families of means to contribute, and basically just didn't give up until it was a reality. Even during construction, when cost overran, as they always do, she insisted on quality and forbade cutting corners. She wanted a world-class facility for all of us, and she got it. She was so very proud of the Gallo Center and never stopped supporting us. If I wanted to book a special artist like Renee Fleming, Itzhak Perlman, Audra McDonald, whom I knew likely would not pay for themselves, I would call Marie and ask for help underwriting their fee, and she never once turned me down. Marie also had a feisty side. You didn't want to tangle with her if she had her mind made up about something. I remember one such time in my early years at the Gallo Center, and I can't remember what it was about, but I was a little bit cranky with her, and I was all set to discuss it with her. She came by my office, and before I could broach the subject, she handed me a check for $5,000 made out to the Gallo Center. She said, "Bob and I want Ryan's name on that memorial wall in perpetuity." $5,000 was the giving level for that recognition. So needless to say, I was not cranky with her anymore. As I contemplate our community without her, it's apparent there really isn't another Marie. She was one of a kind and loved our community in a unique way. She lived the Bible verse, Luke 12:48, "To whom much is given, much will be required." I know when she entered heaven's gates last week that God personally said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." So please join me in a moment of silence for our friend Marie Gallo. Thank you.